Welcome to the Doggy Dutch Audio Stories, where weekly card readings open into reflections on manifestation, systems, sovereignty, and everyday life. Brought to you by the Etsy shop Alchemy of Me. The Line is Not the Limit coloring book and the Walking the Universe ecosystem for manifestation. Episode 6. Have you ever said no to something? Not because you did not want it, but because the cost was real? This episode is for such moments. The story for today is titled, What Does It Take for This to Be My Reality? Dutch has been reflecting on his social justice and manifestation oracle card pull, a reading drawn using cards from the Walking the Universe ecosystem of books, by Dr. Siobhan Ballasing Williams. Available from Barnes & Noble, and also from the Etsy shop Alchemy of Me. The cards that came forward during his reading were Rekindle Wonder, Integrate Softness, Surrender Fear, and Emerge Free. Dutch has been letting the cards sit beside him. He has been carrying the reading quietly and noticing what reveals itself. Over the weekend, a friend invited Dutch to a charity bowling fundraiser. It sounded fun. Dutch was ready to say yes. He assumed it would cost what bowling usually cost. But then he learned that because it was a fundraiser, the tickets were priced differently, hundreds of dollars. And that changed his answer from a yes to a no. Not because he did not want to go, but because the cost was real. He immediately had déjà vu. The cost, the math, the reality of the numbers reminded him of a recent trip to the winery, another moment where his answer had also been no. Different setting, same answer. And standing inside that familiar pause, his thoughts drifted to the oracle cards in his reading, while a question rose. What would it take for this to be my reality? As the question surfaced, Dutch noticed how, with the cards in mind, it landed differently than it normally might have. Not with scarcity or lack, not with the feeling that he had to do more, work harder, or correct himself, not with fear, shame, or blame, and not with the old reflex to tighten around what was missing. This time, there was less self-correction. Instead, the question carried the energy of the cards. It carried wonder. It held softness. And because of that, the question opened him and did not pull him inward toward collapse. That opening did not mean reality had changed. Bowling was still a no for him, and that was okay. That was simply the now. But by staying open, the question and the cards had helped him hold that reality softly, with wonder instead of fear. And because of that, he stood in the moment free of being bruised. Rekindle wonder, integrate softness, surrender fear, and emerge free were no longer just cards beside him. They were quietly shaping how he met the no and the way he stayed with the moment. Dutch realized that the no, together with the cards, had left him with more than a yes might have. Two things stayed with him. One was this, the thought that, perhaps in life, it is not only about what is asked, but also the energy from which it is asked, because wonder asks differently than fear, and softness leaves room where pressure would close. The other was quieter, but just as clear, the thought that perhaps manifestation is not always about closing the gap, but sometimes about learning how to remain open inside it, with wonder moving and softness intact. The end. If something in this met you, take a breath with Dutch and let it simmer for a moment. Let's breathe in. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold together. 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep noticing what reveals itself along the way. And remember, if you wanted your own readings, the Walking the Universe cards are available at Alchemy of Me on Etsy.